Kyle Larson has found himself in hot water once again after another crazy and dramatic weekend on the track. The highlights from the Food City Dirt Race are in, and the drama is real. Larson and Ryan Preece both had significant accidents on the dirt track, and they're here to explain what happened. But things aren't going well for Larson, who is facing yet another trouble. Join us on today's video on NASCAR Zone as we go deeper into what's going on in NASCAR. But before we dive into that, do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Bristol Motor Speedway has been turned into the ultimate dirt track for the third year in a row. This gives NASCAR Cup Series drivers a chance to test their rolling and sliding skills and take part in a totally different kind of racing. But Kyle Larson's race on Sunday didn't turn out as well as he thought it would. During the Food City Dirt Race that took place on Sunday night at Bristol Motor Speedway, the rivalry tension between Kyle Larson and Ryan Preece reached a breaking point.
And that started, Tony, back in the middle of 3 and 4 and ended up in turn 1.
Preece shoved Larson's car into the wall, which eliminated the number 5 car from the race and fueled issues about what is and is not an acceptable response to the frustrations experienced by racers.
Frustrated with the earlier contact, and it's time to do something about it.
During the course of the 250-lap race, the collision took place on lap 174. Larson was trying to pass on the outside when Preece's car slid into Larson's. The two drivers collided with one another on 2 separate times, the second of which caused Larson's vehicle to spin out of control just before it impacted the wall, going off of the straightaway on turn 2. Larson, who was running near the back of the pack after a previous spin, was unable to keep going. Another disappointing outcome for the driver, who is largely regarded as the best dirt racer in the Cup Series. This race was run on dirt. Even if the accident only occurred in the very last stage, the seeds for it were planted far earlier. It looked like it began in stage 1 when Larson obstructed Preece as he was going off the corner in turn 1. A moment that seemed to be completely harmless at the beginning of the race was marked by the two making minor contact with one another.
They're at it again, and this time Ryan Preece said, "I've had enough. Take this, Larson, you NASCAR champion." Here are the drivers after the race.
However, Preece did not interpret it in that manner. During the caution period, the driver for Stewart-Haas Racing pulled up close to the number 5 car and gave what seemed to be the middle finger to the defending champion of the NASCAR Cup Series. The entirety of the interaction appeared to leave Preece with a sour taste in her mouth. Preece signaled to crew chief Chad Johnston and spotter Andy Houston that he was finished with taking it on the track and was ready to retire from the competition. Despite the fact that the collision between Preece and Larson appeared to be relatively insignificant, the number 41 vehicle did have difficulty navigating the corners after it. It would appear that Preece has not forgiven Larson for what he did in stage 1, nor has he forgotten about it. He finally got his payback 2 stages later.
Denny Hamlin got the worst of it, along with Josh Berry.
Preece said to the media that he had a conversation with after the race that the contact that he had with Larson was unintentional and was simply the result of Preece's car being loose, and Preece raced hard as he attempted to get to the high line on the track.
I'm not going to lift, when it comes to being run into the fence. You can't. Every time you lift, if guys see you lifting when you're at the right rear corner, they're just going to keep.
Preece commented that they were simply trying to run the top, despite the fact that it was really slippery. Just got loose, and we found ourselves on opposite sides of the fence. After being taken out of the race at the Circuit of the Americas 2 weeks ago, Preece vented his anger to the media about his interactions with some of the bigger personalities in NASCAR. In a later interview with Frontstretch, he stated, "Yeah, I got wrecked by a bunch of jerks. You really want to know what this is, don't you? This boils down to a fundamental disrespect for one another. Some go by without paying, and they have little respect for cars. What takes place as we approach turn 1? They simply run into everyone, and they disrupt days, so someone definitely needs to get their ass kicked." Larson was the one who seemed to catch it on Sunday. To say that he was unhappy would be an understatement. I would have to guess it had been about an hour and a half since the first incident, so I thought we could just act like adults and get over it. But I guess not, he said. Larson made it clear that he and Preece did not have anything else to discuss with one another. He also rejected the idea that NASCAR should get involved, as it did when Denny Hamlin wrecked Ross Chastain at Locarno last year, and again after Hamlin admitted to wrecking Chastain at Phoenix this year. I mean, who's to say that he did it on purpose? Larson stated, only he is aware of that, and Preece stated to the media that by no means was that intentional. What do you think, was the crash intentional, or did just everything get loose? Let us know in the comments section below. Be sure to hit the bell button and subscribe to our channel to get the latest updates. Looking at the race winner, the situation was totally different. Christopher Bell quickly realized Bristol Motor Speedway's dirt track was tailor-made for drivers with dirt experience, and the track's configuration was just what Bell needed to win his 5th race in the NASCAR Cup Series. There on Sunday night, Bell said it was a very difficult surface to get a hold of, and it should have rewarded guys that kind of knew what to expect and how to get the car around the racetrack, which I think it did. Tyler Reddick, who grew up racing on dirt, was able to stay ahead of Bell, even though the race had to start over 8 laps before the end. Bell was a dirt racing superstar as a kid. He won 3 Chili Bowl Nationals running midget cars on dirt, and that experience helped the Joe Gibbs Racing driver win his 5th NASCAR Cup Series race. NASCAR champions Joey Logano and Kyle Busch both won the first 2 years of dirt racing at Bristol, even though they had less dirt racing experience than most of their competitors. According to Bell, things changed this year when organizers made it feel more like the riders were on dirt than ever before. Bell claimed that regardless of whether they were on dirt or concrete, they had a good time at this location. Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Chase Briscoe came in 3rd, 2nd, and 4th, respectively. Kyle Busch lost control of the car with 15 laps left, which was Bell's last chance to win. After the restart, Bell immediately took off and increased his lead over Reddick. Reddick, who won the 2nd stage, was coming up on the last lap when the 16th and final caution came out, stopping the race right away and sending Bell's team into hysterics. Bell said, "Man, I just can't get over how long those laps feel," and he used the phrase several times. Reddick was another player who liked the intensity in the last minutes. He stated, "I thought I had a little bit more, and I quote, I was wrong. I was right on the brink, but I couldn't quite make it in a final couple of laps." Justin Haley finished 6th, Bell's JGR teammate Martin Truex Jr. 7th, Todd Gilliland 8th, Kevin Harvick 9th, and Ty Gibbs 10th, giving Gibbs 3 cars in the top 10. Ross Chastain took the top spot after Alex Bowman's car at Hendrick Motorsports was docked 60 points for breaking the rules at Richmond. Chastain finished 28th, 1 lap behind Bowman. Busch, who had won the race by complete surprise the previous year, he took the checkered flag after leaders Reddick and Briscoe slipped out of contention, blew his chance for a 2nd victory in a row by spinning out at the end of the race. Busch came in 32nd place overall. Other than these drivers, the weekend was a roller coaster for Logano too. Joey Logano, a 2-time NASCAR champion, did not have the performance he desired on the Bristol dirt track. On Saturday night, Logano won the truck race that was held at the track, but he had a hard time finding his way around, and he ended up having to pull over and put his hood up less than halfway through the race. According to Logano, for the limited number of laps that we were able to run, it was a very eventful phase. It seems as though every accident in front of me resulted in me getting up in the middle of it. Logano believed that he had a car that could compete with the others, but a hard hit ruined his steering, and then he clobbered a fence after that. At the 104th lap, Logano was positioned behind the wall with his hood up. He checked in at position 37, which was dead last. This is the 2nd time this season that the defending champion has had this occur to them. The first time was in Las Vegas around a month ago. Before the year 2023, he has only 2 victories in his NASCAR career. When the Cup Series resumes competition on Sunday at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, NASCAR will continue its focus on racing on short tracks. William Byron, who has already won twice this season, is the reigning champion for the spring race at Martinsville. So that is for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us in the comments what you think about the video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see more of our videos on NASCAR updates. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.